Hello, my name is Kirioth, and today we are going to take a look at the all-new, all-plastic Legion Tactical Squad for Horus Heresy. Yes, we have officially begun. The slow reveal of all the stuff for the new Horus Heresy edition has begun. All the plastic things they've made, they're going to be announcing every Thursday, and this is the first one. And you know what? I'm just going to throw it out there straight away, right? I've never been that much of a Beaky fan. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying. It's not bad. I don't hate it. It's not like I think it's terrible. But to be honest, I'm too much of a Mark III helm fan to really like connect with the Beaky. But it does have its place. It's cemented. So much of the early artwork is just full of Beakies. So I totally understand why people love it. Not personally my thing. However, I will say that this squad, I actually really like the look of it. It looks pretty decent. Let's have a gander. You know what will be super interesting? Taking a look at the analytics for this video, seeing how many people just stopped watching when I said I wasn't that much of a fan of Beakies. I bet there's a significant drop off at that exact moment. But it's fine. We can't all like the same things. Here is the squad itself, as specified straight off the bat. All plastic. They're going to make a big deal of this. Every time we see something that is new, it's going to be plastic. They're going to really push that because so much of the Horus Heresy is just Forge World only. And dear Lord, if you don't want to work with the resin, then you're kind of restricted as to your options. And Forge World resin can be a little, just a tiny bit, just a little bit fiddly on occasion. Anyway, here we are. The new Mark VI squad. They look decent enough. The legs are taking a little bit of getting used to for me. I like having the shoulder, like the shoulder pad. You don't have shoulder pad on the legs. The knee pads being like more visible. The shin going like all the way up and covering over is taking a little bit of adjustment time. But you know what? They do look decent. And I will say they've gone for like an interesting mix of styles here. So something that has been pointed out quite a few times over the years when it comes to the Horus Heresy stuff is that the models, typically, the way they've been painted by the Forge World studio, have been a lot more, they've been a lot darker, they've been a lot more grimy, a lot more gritty, whereas the heavy metal team paint stuff in a much more vibrant fashion, and I feel like it's got more vibrant as the years have gone on. These are like an interesting middle ground because you've got all of those you've got like the smooth gradients and the crisp edge highlights of the heavy metal team, but they've also put an effort into putting more weathering on these than you typically see off their stuff, right? Normally it's super clear, super clean, but this has got that little bit of extra. It's like they're trying to cross the styles over a bit more, and I really like that. Shut up, chair. Anyway, paintwork aside, I mean, they look decent. They look good. There's little nods to the Marines of old. The poses are obviously a lot less squat, like they're a lot less bow-legged, which is something they do mention in the article. You've still got some nice hallmarks of the Heresy in there as well. I have to admit, I'm not a massive fan of the fixed bayonet look, but I mean, they look decent. They look good. I'm a sucker for an armour plate that's got like the reinforcement studs on it, so that's an instant win for me. It's actually interesting to see the chest on the squad leader there, because there's like an angle there that I feel like you don't see all that much. That's not like a particularly like typical style. I feel like a lot of the Space Marine chest plates, they're more like curved, they're more rounded, or at least they don't have that almost kind of angle that is just above the midriff. Like, I don't know, I quite like it, but it does sort of look a little bit at odds with how like smooth and uninterrupted the shoulder pads are in a weird way. The lack of trim on the shoulder pads is taking some getting used to as well. Like, they are just completely smooth. You haven't got any of that trim on the edges. And if you look at, like, the Mark V, the Mark IV, I believe, has got at least, like, a small amount of trim. The Mark III definitely does. Like, this feels significantly different. And, of course, if you look at the Primaris Marines, they've all got some sort of trim on the shoulders, whereas these are totally lacking in that. Which is, it's kind of conspicuous by the absence of it. It's like you get so used to seeing it that when it's not there, like, it's really standing out that it's not there on every model. I do really like the power packs. The power packs look great. I think overall this is a solid looking kit. It looks good. There's no part of it that I don't like. There's bits that are like not quite 100% to my taste, but then I guess when it comes to marks of power armor, everyone's got their favourite, haven't they? Everyone has the one that they like the most. And, I mean, to be honest, this has never really been it for me. But I can at least appreciate that the models do look decent. I will say the scale is interesting. There was an image from the preview, I think it was, and they look like they are, I mean, they're true scale. That was the thing about the Primaris Marines. They put all the lore in to make them a new thing, to make them like super Space Marines, extra special, super special Space Marines. But really, they've just wound up being about what you would expect Space Marines to be. Your firstborn Space Marines have always been a bit weird scale-wise, and Primaris did fix that really well, but it just introduced a whole bunch of weird lore as well. These, they're just flat-out taller. They're just bigger. Like, they are pretty much... I wouldn't say they're 100% the same size. Clearly, they're still a little bit shorter than the Primaris stuff. But they're really not that far off. Now, that could be something that puts people off. Like, if it comes to, you've got an established Horus Heresy army, you've got something that you've been working towards, none of the other stuff is going to be the same scale as this, which I can see being a bit of a turn-off for some people. And I totally get that, because it's not a case of them being a separate, new, their own special thing. They are ostensibly supposed to be the same Marines, just in different armour, which I could see that being an issue for people. But, overall, I think they look decent. I think they look alright. It's not my favourite mark of armour, and yet I'm still interested, you know? I'm still interested. So they've got more like close-up detail here. I really can't overstate how much I like that little bit of weathering they've done. I don't know, it's just selling it to me. It's just selling it more. I like a bit of streaking grime, and yeah. I mean, yeah, the close-ups just kind of reinforce it. As they've said, long-time Warhammer fans will notice echoes the original plastic Space Marine kit, the legendary RTB-01 box, which released in 1987. It's literally 1 year after I was born. Jesus. That set was similarly full of posable Mark VI Corvus armour. By the way, I know full well that some of you watching this will have just crumbled into dust from sheer age, having been reminded what year that box came out. Because there'll be some of you who went and bought that box and were super excited when it first showed up, and now the weight of years will have crushed you into nothing. Because they do say that the ones in the new kit are larger and more imposing. You'd expect that anyway, but I am still kind of surprised at just how more like close to true scale they are. Now they pointed out the transverse crest of the Sergeant as well, which I actually don't like. I've never liked those crests. I like them to go the other way. They just look better the other way. Anyway, and then they've got a few in different colour schemes. So we've got an Ultramarine, we've got a Night Lord, we've got Death Guard, and the problem with if you've got a black Space Marine, a black Space Marine with no visible iconography is I mean, who is it? Do we need to take guesses? I mean, I can see a little. I mean, the winged little pendant there. That could just be a symbol of the Imperium. We don't know, because that could be Dark Angels, could be Raven Guard, could be Iron Hands. Your guess is as good as mine, to be honest. I mean, really, it could be anyone. Let's just move on, shall we? So, there's so much more to come from the Horus Heresy. In April, they'll be revealing a new plastic model from the new edition each week on Thursday. So, there you go. Question is, what do you make of it? Do you like it? Do you like the look of this new squad? Is the added height, is the change in scale going to be a problem for you personally? Is this going to be your first dip into Horus Heresy if you decide to take the plunge on the box when it's announced, depending on price, obviously, because it's going to be astronomical, because of course it is. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. In the meantime, feel free to click all the things, Patreon, video, subscribe, all that stuff. Click it if you like, don't click if you want to. As always, there's an affiliate link in the description for Element Games, which you can use to support the channel if you would like. There's also one for Noble Knight Games in the US. I leave it in your capable hands. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.